She would silence our stadiums, put our teams on the brink. Hurricane Katrina changed the game, but she couldn't crush our spirit.
We got to win games to make the people of Louisiana feel better.
Out of the darkness of Hurricane Katrina, a brighter day for the teams, the athletes, the fans of New Orleans, how we got here and where we're headed. This is a special presentation of WDSU, Hurricane Katrina, 10 years forward, saving our spirit.
We're in the new Yulman Stadium on the campus of Tulane University. It opened less than a year ago and is part of the rebirth of the school's athletic program. Good evening, I'm Margaret Orr.
And I'm Scott Walker. We'll talk college and recreational sports in a bit, but we begin with sports anchor Fletcher Mackel at Champion Square with the city's flagship teams, the Saints and the Pelicans.
Two franchises many thought might not survive the aftermath of the storm.
We're living in the greatest time of professional sports in New Orleans. Both the Saints and the Pelicans are secure and profitable. Our grand stadiums have been renovated and renamed, and we have superstar athletes. And Anthony Davis and Drew Brees truly love New Orleans and do a great job representing all of us on the field and on the court. And the man who made all of this possible, Tom Benson. So last fall, this statue of Benson was erected in Champion Square. And it's truly a sign of how far we've come since Hurricane Katrina. Because 10 years ago, no one would have believed any of this was possible. In the summer of 2005, both the Saints and the then New Orleans Hornets seemingly had one foot out the door. Hornets owner George Shinn was on shaky financial ground after relocating his team from Charlotte in 2002 and then buying out co-owner Ray Woltridge in 2003. As for Saints owner Tom Benson, he was considering a move to San Antonio.
Stanley Rosenberg, president of the Saints Board of Directors, told a San Antonio newspaper that Benson is interested in relocating the franchise. Rosenberg says, quote, Tom has a house in San Antonio, a ranch in San Antonio, and business interest in San Antonio. He likes San Antonio very much.
Those comments resulted in then Governor Kathleen Blanco questioning the Saints' long-term interest in Louisiana.
Another main goal that we were attempting to achieve is to have the Saints, to ensure the Saints' presence in Louisiana for another 20 to 25 years. You know, that may be part of the reason that they don't want to speak right now. Maybe they don't want to make that kind of long-term commitment.
But longtime journalists like Dave Lagarde and Brian Alley Walsh, two men who covered the Saints for a combined 70 years, never felt Benson's rhetoric pre-Katrina would become reality.
That's what NFL owners do, trying to squeeze the turnip a little bit more.
I always thought it was for business reasons. He was trying to get the best possible deal for himself.
But Hurricane Katrina was a deal breaker. With the Superdome and the New Orleans arena decimated, the Saints and the Hornets had to temporarily relocate. George Shinn took his team to Oklahoma City. And while reports of him flirting with a permanent move to the Sooner State were persistent, he repeatedly visited New Orleans and said he would be bringing his team back.
My goal is to, very simple, do what's right.
Tom Benson relocated his team to the city Saints fans feared most, San Antonio. And Benson's silence spoke volumes. In the weeks and months following the storm, he never committed to returning to New Orleans, leading fans and members of the media to assume Benson was attempting to leave New Orleans during the city's greatest time of need.
I think that Tom Benson is a despicable man.
I look at this situation about it being as close to irreparable harm as you can possibly find. The man's basically sabotaged everything here with the fans, with the media.
He's getting buried by the media because of the whole switch and move, and we all understood as a business, he put a lot of money and a lot of energy in his franchise, and he didn't know what he was going back to neither.
Will Smith is one of the Saints' most decorated players. He joined the organization as a first-round draft pick in 2004, and he was a captain on the 2009 Super Bowl squad. But in 2005, like the fans and the media, he says the players also started to believe a permanent move to Texas was in the works.
Mr. B, he didn't really tell us much because he didn't really know what the situation was. So the head coach, he couldn't tell us. No one actually knew. And then once we realized that, you know, there's a possibility we won't even ever go back to New Orleans. Then it was like, well, now I got to move again. And, you know, I don't think too many people were happy about San Antonio.
And no one was happy with Tom Benson.
We had lost our house in New Orleans. We had friends and family that were suffering, okay? So here all of a sudden you have now a businessman that is using his team as a leverage point to try and strike a better deal or to even possibly move the team. Okay, yeah, I mean, that struck a chord. I got to be honest with you, I don't think anybody that was around them in the San Antonio situation didn't feel that way, okay? How could you do this? How could you even begin to try to broker a deal at the expense of a city that was underwater, struggling just to stay above water, and having all the problems it did? It was an ugly, ugly time.
So the NFL and then Commissioner Paul Tagliabue stepped in to assist the Saints.
The city owes a debt of gratitude to the man who preceded the guy we love to hate as the commissioner, and that's Goodell. I'm talking about Tagliabue. I think he told Benson in no uncertain terms, you're not leaving that city high and dry.
Paul Tagliabue has never once taken credit for returning the Saints to New Orleans. In fact, he's repeatedly said the decision was made solely by Tom Benson. It just took Benson and his leadership team 4 months following Hurricane Katrina to officially announce their plans.
Do you think you could have said something earlier, or is this timely in your matter to wait 4 months if you want to be a leader in the rebuilding?
Well, I think the focus is on the good news today that we're coming back, not on what's happened. I mean, anyone can second guess anything that everyone has done, and everyone has second guessed what not only what we've done, but what every leader in the community has done.
And once the Saints returned, no one second guessed what Benson did. Peyton, Breeze, the block, the kick, Lombardi. On the field, Benson's decisions post-Katrina ushered in the greatest run in franchise history. Off the field, Benson's efforts in the community rebuilt his reputation with a passionate fan base who felt one with the team.
That's why we were so good. That's why we started winning, because it wasn't just about the players and the teammates and, you know, trying to win games just to go to the playoffs. It's like we got to win games to make the people of Louisiana feel better.
And since 2005, Tom Benson has made Louisiana better, working tirelessly and giving tens of millions of dollars to various schools, charities, and endeavors he believes in.
I think that has really helped his legacy over and above finally getting the team to the Super Bowl and winning it.
Benson even expanded his sports empire. In 2012, he purchased the Hornets. As promised, George Shinn brought the team back from Oklahoma City following Hurricane Katrina. And while they had tremendous success during the 2007-2008 campaign, Shinn continued to deal with financial hardships, forcing him to sell the franchise back to the NBA in 2010. Commissioner David Stern wanted to keep the franchise in New Orleans, but with viable suitors in Seattle, San Jose, and Louisville, many thought the team was gone, until Tom Benson stepped up with a $340 million check and saved the day.
They were going to fly the coop. They'd have flown the coop as the Hornets. So that we never would have had the Pelicans, and we'd never have this gift that's Anthony Davis.
The good that Tom has done as both a businessman and a local citizen far outweigh any negative things that have come under his 30 years in the sports empire business.
In 2012, many of the media who criticized Benson after Hurricane Katrina selected him for induction into the Saints Hall of Fame. And in 2014, the Tom Benson statue was erected in Champion Square. So in 10 years, Tom Benson has truly gone from pariah to messiah.
Tom deserves this kind of appreciation from a fan base.
I think they're going to remember all the great things he's done for this city. He loves the city and loves the people of New Orleans.
Tom deserves a statue in his honor.
The Pelicans' long-term deal with the state of Louisiana runs through 2024, the Saints through 2025. Scott and Margaret, back to you.
According to Forbes magazine, Tom Benson is Louisiana's richest man. He has a net worth of $1.9 billion.
And the field that we're standing on here at Yulman Stadium is named Benson Family Field because of the large donation Tom Benson made to Tulane Athletics.
Up next, two schools in turmoil, two very different paths, 10 years forward. How Hurricane Katrina created a divide between Tulane and UNO, and where their athletic programs stand today.